Okay, so are you ready for a real nail-biter?
I am.
Because we are diving deep into Heart of a Samurai,
All right.
and
Yeah.
we're going to unpack a decision that is going to redefine life-changing.
Okay.
We're talking about young Manjiro.
Right.
He is facing this fork in the road,
Yeah.
and it is so huge, it could have split his destiny in two.
Wow.
And we've got excerpts from the book, a podcast breaking down this pivotal chapter. We've even got study questions and quizzes.
Really, someone has been doing their homework.
Yeah.
Well, and what I find so fascinating is how this single decision throws into sharp relief that clash between Manjiro's traditional upbringing and then this completely alien world that's suddenly thrust upon him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1841. He's just a teenager?
Right.
He's a Japanese fisherman who, along with Denzo, Jusuke, and Goemon,
Right.
was shipwrecked and then rescued by the American whaling ship, the John Howland.
6 months he's been at sea with these strangers. I mean, can you even imagine? But here's the thing. Manjiro isn't just enduring this, he's taking to it. He's soaking up English. He's fascinated by the ship's workings.
Mm-hmm.
The book even describes his sheer joy when the sails unfurled like great wings.
Wow.
That doesn't sound like a kid merely surviving.
No.
There's a real sense of wonder there.
And that's where it gets really interesting. It's
Right.
not just the ship that he's responding to, it's Captain Whitfield himself.
Right.
We learn from the podcast discussion that, unlike many whaling captains of the time, Whitfield's a devoutly religious man, even refusing to hunt on Sundays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is described as fair and just, a stark contrast to the brutality that's often associated with that industry.
Now imagine you're Manjiro.
Okay.
You've only known life in this tight-knit fishing village.
Right.
Strict societal roles,
Right.
respect for tradition just ingrained in you from childhood.
Of course.
And suddenly you're on this ship, this floating microcosm of a completely different world,
Right.
led by a man like Captain Whitfield,
Right.
who embodies this blend of strength and compassion.
Yeah.
That must seem utterly foreign.
And that is precisely what makes Whitfield's offer to Manjiro so powerful. Remember, we have very little information about Manjiro's life back in Japan.
Right.
But it's safe to assume that father figures, especially those in authority,
Yeah.
would be defined by a certain formality,
Right.
a distance.
Yes.
But Whitfield extends this genuine warmth,
Wow.
offering to become a true father to Manjiro,
Real.
to take him to America as his son.
Wow. Talk about a bombshell.
Right.
Our sources tell us the other Japanese fishermen, understandably,
Yeah.
are excited by the prospect of eventually returning to Japan.
Sure.
But Manjiro, he's completely floored.
Of course.
This isn't just a choice between two countries.
Right.
It's a choice between two fathers,
Yeah.
two cultures,
Yeah.
two completely different ways of life.
And he's left grappling with this decision that could shatter all conventional expectations of a young man in his position.
Wow. It's easy for us looking back, to think, oh, America, land of opportunity. Of course he should go.
Right.
Yeah.
This is 1841.
Yeah.
We're talking about a world where crossing an ocean
Right.
was like stepping onto another planet,
Sure.
not just changing time zones.
Yeah.
I mean, what would it have even taken emotionally for Manjiro to even consider this offer?
And that's the genius of the story, right?
Yeah.
It forces us to confront our own assumptions about ambition, about what constitutes a better life.
Right.
Because for Manjiro,
Right.
it's not as simple as stay with the familiar or chase the new.
Right.
This decision cuts to the core of who he is, who he wants to be.
And we see this play out in his relationships with the other fishermen.
Yeah.
The quiz that we have lists Denzo as leaving the decision entirely up to Manjiro.
Oh, okay.
Ginza,
Yeah.
bless his heart,
Yeah.
suggests that Manjiro take the advice of his pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Basically sleep on it.
Right.
Although from what we read, sleep isn't coming easily to our friend Manjiro.
Yeah.
But then there's Goemon.
Goemon. He's fascinating.
Yeah.
He represents that other side of this internal coin, that Manjiro's flippant.
Right.
Remember that scene where Captain Whitfield shares the Longfellow poem?
Yeah.
The one about leaving footprints in the sands of time?
Uh-huh.
One of the sources, a set of study questions, really dug into that moment.
Yeah. It is a powerful poem,
It is.
urging us to live lives that inspire, to leave a mark on the world.
Yeah,
I can see how that would resonate deeply with Manjiro, especially with this whole new world opening up before him.
exactly. And to a young man like Manjiro, already questioning, already drawn to knowledge and new experiences, this idea of leaving footprints must be incredibly seductive.
Right.
But to Goemon,
Right.
steeped in a worldview where humility and knowing one's place are paramount.
Right.
The poem, and by extension, Manjiro's growing fascination with America, seems almost absurd,
Wow.
even dangerous.
It's like they're both looking at the same horizon,
Yes.
but one sees boundless possibility, while the other sees a terrifying void.
Yes.
No wonder Goemon tells Manjiro he doesn't even recognize him anymore.
And that's the heart of this clash of worldviews, isn't it? It's not just about East versus West,
Right,
or
yeah.
tradition versus progress.
Right.
It's about what happens when our fundamental beliefs about the world, about ourselves, are challenged.
Right.
Do we cling to what we know, even when it feels constricting?
Right.
Or do we dare to step into the unknown, even if it means leaving behind parts of ourselves?
That's heavy stuff.
It is.
And the really fascinating thing is how even Manjiro himself is grappling with this.
Yeah.
He articulates it in the book, questioning if he's losing himself in all of this, becoming something unrecognizable,
Right.
as Goemon fears.
And that's the question we're left with at the end of part 2, isn't it? Is Manjiro's transformation a loss or a liberation? Is it possible to embrace new possibilities without betraying your roots?
So we have Manjiro,
Right.
caught between two worlds,
Yeah.
two father figures,
Right.
two completely different futures.
And what I find so compelling is how the book doesn't shy away from the emotional turmoil of it all.
Right. It would have been so easy to romanticize this potential journey to America.
Oh, yeah.
Make it all about, adventure and opportunity.
Right, just this great thing.
But
Yeah,
the story digs deeper.
it does.
It shows us these very real anxieties
Yeah.
that Manjiro faces.
Right.
The multiple choice quiz we have highlights Manjiro's desire for knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
for seeing the world beyond his fishing village.
Right.
But then the book reminds us of his deep love for his mother,
Of course.
the fear that she believes him dead.
Right.
That's a lot for a young man to carry.
And it speaks to the universality of his dilemma, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, we've all felt that pull between, pursuing our dreams and then honoring our obligations to loved ones.
Right.
It's this push and pull that makes Manjiro so relatable, even centuries later.
And the source material gives us this really great, multifaceted view of
Yeah.
Captain Whitfield.
Yeah.
Kind, devout,
Yeah.
offering a path to a life Manjiro could never have imagined. Right. But then there's also the unspoken reality of 19th century America.
Right.
I mean, even if he goes with Whitfield,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee of a smooth journey.
Yeah.
Would he face prejudice as a Japanese boy in this fledgling nation,
Right.
still grappling with its own identity?
It's a question the book leaves open.
Right.
And I appreciate that ambiguity because
Yeah.
it acknowledges the complexity of Manjiro's situation.
Right.
The lack of easy answers. He's
Right.
not just choosing a destination, he's choosing a future
Right.
fraught with unknowns.
And then there's that bond with the other Japanese fishermen.
Right.
The podcast discussion pointed out how Denzo, in his own way, becomes this father figure to Manjiro.
He does.
And even with Komomo's disapproval,
Right.
you sense that shared history,
Yeah.
that understanding that goes beyond words.
That must be incredibly powerful.
It is, and it underscores what's at stake for Manjiro.
Exactly.
It's not just about personal ambition.
No.
It's about loyalty,
Right.
about belonging. If he chooses America, he risks losing not just his past,
Yeah.
but the camaraderie of these men
Right.
who've shared his ordeal.
It's like he's being asked to choose between two versions of himself.
Right.
The ambitious, knowledge-hungry
Yes.
young man drawn to the West.
Right.
And the loyal, tradition-bound fisherman
Yeah.
bound to his roots.
And that, I think, is what makes this story so enduring.
It is.
It's not just a historical account. It's a timeless exploration of identity,
Yeah,
ambition, and the courage it takes to define yourself on your own terms,
absolutely.
even when faced with these impossible choices.
Yeah,
Because in the end, Manjiro's dilemma
right.
isn't so different from the ones that we all grapple with, is it?
It's not, no.
You know those moments when we're forced to ask ourselves,
Right.
who am I?
Yeah.
Where do I belong?
Yes.
What kind of footprints do I want to leave
Right.
on the sands of time?
Such a powerful image.
It is.
And it resonates with all of us, I think.
It does. And that is our deep dive on Heart of a Samurai and that choice.
Fantastic discussion.
Thanks for joining us.